Hey guys, welcome back to another video and another series of the 1 minute breakdowns, where we break down each and every fight on the upcoming UFC card in a minute or less. At least we try to. We try to keep it very concise. That way you don't have to sit through these long breakdowns. Something a little bit more high level. Thank you for all the continued support on the series. It means a lot. The continued support with the likes, the comments means a lot. And I do this for you guys. I do this for you guys, for your entertainment, just to spread out good information. And hopefully you somehow find a way to make money out of these breakdowns. That's the goal. But if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. We're almost at 200 subscribers. It would mean the world if we can get this done before February ends. I know that's a pretty unrealistic goal, but I know you guys can do it. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start this off with the first fight of the night updated because they changed up the lineup. It's Eileen Perez going up against Hailey Cohen. Hailey Cohen, fresh off of the Contender Series with a split decision win against Claudia Leite, as you see on the screen. And then Eileen Perez losing her first UFC fight against Stephanie Egger. A lot of people were on Eileen Perez in that fight, but she just didn't look that well when she weighed in. She tended to gas out quite a bit, and then going up against a heavy grappler with a good submission game in herself and Stephanie Egger, her game plan wasn't going to be executed all that well. Hailey Cohen is a really athletic girl. She's been a gymnast, fit, strong for the weight class, and she's going to be bigger than Eileen here. Now, what I think is going to happen is I think Eileen's going to struggle getting her down at first, but after that first round, I think Hailey Cohen's going to struggle to defend these takedowns. And I do see Eileen Perez winning a decision here. It's going to be greasy. It could be a split decision. That's what I'm predicting. Eileen Perez by split decision. Not too much on this fight. That's why I kept it very high level. Next up, we have Aliyev going up against Rafael Alves. Rafael Alves, we've seen him in the UFC with some beautiful technique at times when it comes, like that one breakdancing spin to get out the take from Demir's Magulov. That's always going to be a highlight, a memory. And we know this guy can crack. He has a decent submission game. Front headlock series is excellent. He's lost his last fight. He got knocked out by Drew Dober. He won against Mark Diakese, and then he lost against Demir's Magulov in his debut. Aliyev, a lot of people are comparing this guy to Khabib Nurmagomedov due to his fight style. Very heavy on the takedowns. Likes to win his fights mainly via control, although on his Contender Series fight he did win via ground and pound in that first round. Really impressive, but I don't know about this line. I mean, minus 180, sure. Like, he has to be very careful in that first round going up against Rafael Alves. He carries a lot of power, and if he can squeak his way out of that first round, I think Aliyev cruised here. So maybe a potential live betting spot in that second round, but as a pre-fight standpoint, I will not lay money on this one because Rafael Alves in that first round is an absolute maniac, and he can knock anyone's head out, and he can catch him going in for those takedowns with that sim games. Possible live bet spot for Aliyev at the beginning of round 2. That's my prediction, and my prediction is Aliyev decision. Next fight, we have Joe Solecki going up against Carl Deaton. Carl Deaton is making his UFC debut on short notice here. Joe Solecki, who was supposed to face Saint Denis in a much better fight. I wish we had that fight. But Joe Solecki, heavy favorite here. It's warranted, in my opinion. Joe Solecki has some really slick ground game. He mixes in his takedowns really well. Offensively on the feet, not the best. I wouldn't rate his stand-up game all that well. Carl Deaton might be able to land a couple of shots and possibly rock Joe Solecki here. It wouldn't be my surprise, but to be honest, Joe Solecki is just levels ahead of this guy, Carl Deaton. Deaton is one of the more experienced guys coming in for their debut. Like, he's fought a lot of good people on the regional scene, but Joe Solecki is just going to be a handful here on the ground. I think he's going to be able to get a submission in the second round. That's my prediction. I think he's just going to be able to drown him with the grappling. So Joe Solecki submission is my pick. Shout out to Mushroom in the chat. What's up, my guy? Thank you for popping up. I appreciate your support. Next up, we have a really good fight here. I really like this fight. Charles Johnson going up against Odie Osborne. Charles Johnson coming in on short notice here, and he is the favorite right now. Market's around -150 to 160. And Odie Osborne here, we've seen him with some questionable decisions when it comes to the stand-up game here. Uh, Getting rocked in a couple of his fights, lost by knockout to Tyson Nam last time out as a heavy favorite. Not the best look. Um, Odie Osborne is known to be one of the longer guys in the division when it comes to his reach. But Charles Johnson here is going to be able to match him, or somewhat match. 72 inches of reach for Odie Osborne going up against 70 inches of reach for Charles Johnson. So he's going to be able to match him in the reach department almost identical. And the thing with Johnson is he's very patient on the feet, which I like against someone like Odie, because Odie can get pretty wild at times. And the one thing that Odie is going to struggle with here is Charles Johnson's boxing. His boxing is very crisp, it's very accurate, and he's going to be able to land on Odie any which way he wants to, because Odie's striking defense is not there. Charles Johnson can mix in the takedowns, but I think it'll be best interest to keep this fight on the feet because Odie does have a slick submission game. I'll give him that. But for me, the bet here is Charles Johnson all day. I think he wins a decision or maybe a late knockout. And I already played his money line when the lines dropped to around -155. So give me Charles Energy Johnson to get another win in the UFC. Next up, we have the talk of the town, Jordan Levitt, Monkey King, going up against Victor Martinez. Victor Martinez making his UFC debut. And in his last fight against Jacob Rosales, showed some decent stand-up, good durability. But here's the thing. He can get taken down left and right pretty easily. And Jordan Levitt, we all know his game is to take you down, to smother you with the grappling, and find a sub. I do see the area where if he cannot get Martinez down, this will be a long fight for Levitt, and he will lose. But I do think Levitt's going to be able to take this fight to the ground. He's going to be able to control Martinez on the ground and eventually find the sub. Now, if he uses all of his energy like he did early on against Paddy Pimblett, this is going to be an issue for Levitt. So I need him to fight a controlled pace. And if he does that and if he fights smart, I think he gets the decision win here. If not, it'll be a submission. But I'm leaning more towards a decision, maybe even a split decision win for Monkey King Levitt. Kyrix, Monkey King, or I look like a fool plus home. Hey, you and me both, man. I went to Bay for this guy this week. But next up, we have Gabriella Fernandez going up against Jasmine Jasudavicius. Jasmine Jasudavicius, man, she is very tall for the division, very long. She's getting her match here. Gabriella Fernandez is almost identical with her in the reach and in the height department. Gabriella Fernandez is a decent fighter out of Brazil, making her debut. Decent all around, I would say. Jasmine tends to gas out as the fight goes on. This is the thing, guys. Don't bet on this fight, please. Whatever you do, don't bet on this fight because you're gonna regret it either which way you bet it. Whether you bet on Jasmine or whether you bet on Gabriella. It's gonna be a greasy fight, back and forth, and one girl is gonna end up with a greasy split decision. Yeah, play the split like Mushroom is saying. That's what I would recommend. Play the splits, and you'll be happy. But I do predict Jasmine to vet lessen her and win a decision. I hate that I'm saying she's a vet, but you know what I mean. She has a couple fights in the UFC, but her striking is non-existent. I think Gabriella can light her up on the feet, and if she's successful, Gabriella might be able to take her out too. So, not too much on that fight. I am not interested in that one at all. But next up, we have a phenom, Trevor Peek, going up against Eric Gonzalez. Trevor Peek, the man that fights and gets in that cage as if he just snorted a line of cocaine. He goes in there, balls to the wall, and he just walks forward and swings heavies. He gets tagged up too, but it doesn't look like it bothers him. His chin holds up really well. Going up against Eric Gonzalez, who can crack, I'll tell you that. The man can crack. He can defend the takedowns as well. And Peek, I think if he's smart, he'd want to take this fight to the ground quick and just win via ground and pound, because I think Gonzalez on the mat is not the best fighter here. And on the feet, I think Peek will find success too. My favorite bet in this fight is the under 1.5. I know it's already juiced to around -180, but I don't think this fight leaves the first 4 minutes. It's going to be hell on wheels from Trevor Peek in those first 4 minutes. And Peek is one of these guys that we love to watch as a fan, but as a betting man, sometimes it's going to be tough to back him. In this fight, I predict him to win by knockout in that first round. But moving forward, I will be looking for a fade spot for this guy, Trevor Peek. Next up, we have Mike Malott going up against Johan Lioness. And right off the bat, I'll tell you this, the line really surprised me here. Malott is a minus 220 favorite against a guy like Lioness. I know Malott has a lot of hype, and he's won his fights by finish, and he's faced some decent competition on the regional scene, but this guy takes a lot of time off. His last fight was, well, it says a month. That can't be right. Yeah. A month and 3 weeks ago against Trevor and Giles in cage. Yeah, that's wrong. He's been out of the cage for about a year and a half now. And going up against Johan Lioness is a guy that can crack. That's the one issue that I see here. Mickey Gall was lighting up Mike Malott on the feet. Mickey Gall, the guy that is fed to these newcomers in the UFC, was lighting Mike Malott up on the feet. He dropped him on the feet. But then he just, got too much ahead of himself and got finished. I think Johan Lioness is going to knock this kid out in the first round. Here's the thing. Johan Lioness carries that power. His cardio did look improved. Anyone up against Gabe Green in his last fight, anyone going up against Gabe Green is going to struggle with the cardio because Gabe Green puts on a hellacious pace. So what I think is going to happen here is Malott's going to try and control the fight and look for some takedowns here just to get Lioness on the ground. And I think he might be successful, but Lioness will scramble up to his feet and knock this guy out. I think he's a better striker than Malott. I think he's a better finisher than Malott on the feet, but on the ground, I think Malott can get the submission. Very interesting fight. I like both of these guys, but I'm leaning towards the dog, plus 180. I'm about to pull the trigger, guys. It's really close. I've been a guy that backed Lioness in, I think, all of his UFC fights. So 2-1. I'm going to have to take that dog money here. But we'll move on. Next fight, we have the return. Tatiana Suarez going up against Montana De La Rosa. Let's just say how it is. This is a setup fight for Tatiana Suarez to make her comeback after 3.5 years out from the UFC due to injuries and recovering from cancer. So I much respect to Tatiana Suarez here. When she left the UFC, she was the second-ranked woman fighter in the flyweight division, I believe it was. And she was a series title contender. Very good ground game, very good takedown offense from Tatiana Suarez. And she controls these girls. And if you watch the tape on her, you'll see why she's a minus 700 favorite. She would pummel these girls' heads into the canvas like it's any regular day. And I think she's going to do the same thing here against Montana De La Rosa, who is mainly a jiu-jitsu girl that accepts bottom position and likes to play off of her back. I think Tatiana Suarez is going to get this finish in the second round, late second round, maybe early third. But I project her to win by TKO ground and pound after 500 takedowns. Yeah. So I don't think that's a surprise. She's minus 700. We have the talk of the town. Augusto Sakai going up against Dante Alves. Oh, man. Augusto Sakai coming in off of 4 straight knockout losses here. And I'll read the names just so you guys can know who these guys are. Sergey Spivak, Taito Ivasa, Jairzinho, Alistair Overeem. So he's not getting knocked out by any bums. These are like the cream of the crop in the heavyweight division. Going up against Dante Alves, I know the whole Twitterverse is upset at this guy because of his loss to Hamdi, but now it's a draw because of Hamdi popping for steroids. This is a very weird fight. Obviously, the eye test, you're like, oh, we should go Sakai. But then you look at Dante Alves, and like he does have some finish equity if he takes Sakai down. And the thing is, yeah, Sakai got knocked out 4 times in a row by elite competition, but that chin doesn't regenerate. If you get knocked out 4 or 5 times in a row, your chin is pretty much deteriorated at the end. So if Dante Alves lands pretty cleanly here, whether it's ground and pound or on the feet, I think he's going to be able to knock Sakai out. My prediction is going to be Dante Alves via knockout here. But if Sakai lost decisions to these guys, trust me, I would have put money on Sakai. He is a decent striker, I'll tell you that. But all those knockouts worry me. But this fight won't get any of my money, I'll tell you that. I have more to worry about. Next up, we have Andre Muniz going up against Brendan Allen. Before I get into this fight, guys, if you haven't already, please like and comment, smash that like button and the subscribe button. It helps the channel out a lot. Next up, we have Andre Muniz going up against Brendan Allen. This is one of the best fights on the card, and there's a reason why I'm saying one of. You'll find out next. Andre Muniz, one of the most lethal submission artists in the division, maybe even in the UFC. When this guy gets your back, it's over. Legit black belt. And when this guy grapples you, you almost have no word I'm looking for. There's no help. But we haven't seen him face too many good jiu-jitsu guys except for Jacare Souza, who also was towards the end of his career. That's just that. Brendan Allen has some good jiu-jitsu. He has some good ground game. I don't like that he accepts bottom position, but I think he can scramble. The one issue we've seen with Andre Muniz is that Andre Muniz tends to gas out pretty bad. I know people say his last fight against Uriah Hall, he didn't gas. It's because Uriah Hall has zero grappling. Like his grappling is almost non-existent. So he was able to recover while he was laying on him. If Brendan Allen's able to survive this first round and a half and scramble and make Muniz work for these takedowns, I'm going to love my bet on Brendan Allen at plus 190. So you guys already know where I'm at here. I think Brendan Allen is better than him on the feet. I'm not going to say he's going to keep up with him in the grappling game, but I think he has the ability to scramble out of certain positions. Now, Brendan Allen is not the most the smartest fighter in the division. He's not a smart fighter. Early on in his career, he proved that. But over the past couple fights, we've seen some improvements. In the Jacob Malkoun fight, yeah, he got taken down 1,000,000 times, but he kept scrambling and getting up and getting advantageous positions. My issue is that Andre Muniz is going to gas out if this happens. If he doesn't sub him quickly, I think he will gas out. And Brendan Allen will be able to either finish him or get the decision. I'm going to play some splits on Brendan Allen, split decision here. So I already have him on the money line for a unit, and I do have him. I'm about to lock him in on a split decision. So give me Brendan Allen. Last but not least, main event, we have Nikita Krylov going up against Ryan Spann. Both of these guys are some of the top finishers in the UFC heavyweight division right now. Sorry, light heavyweight division. Ryan Spann's going to be the bigger guy here. 2 inches of height and 4 inches of reach, excuse me. Ryan Spann, coming off of a huge upset against Dominic Reyes, looked really powerful and lit Reyes up on the feet. Pretty much got him out of there in the first minute of the fight, I believe it was. And then you look at Nikita Krylov coming off of the win against Volkan Oezdemir and Alexander Gustafsson. That was a horrible look for Gustafsson. It was a corpse of Gustafsson, so you can't really put too much stock in there. I love the under 1.5 in this fight. Both of these guys are potent finishers. I think either guy can get the knockout because they've both shown durability issues. All of their losses are pretty much by knockout or by submission. I think if Nikita Krylov wants to win this fight, he takes this fight down to the mat and wears on that gas tank of Ryan Spann. But the issue with the Krylov, when he enters into these takedowns, he leaves his neck open. And Ryan Spann has some of the nastiest high elbow guillotines in the game. So if he gets caught, I would not be surprised. I'm not playing any side on this fight. I'm close to playing the under 1.5, even though it's pretty juiced. But yeah, Mushroom, I like that fight doesn't start round 3 look. I do like the Krylov ITD. I like Spann ITD. Spann ITD at plus 160 is what I saw earlier. But yeah, violence is what I spell for this fight. And this is my favorite fight on the card. 2 men are going to be out there banging it out, finishing each other in that first round. I don't think this gets out of the first round unless Krylov has success in the grappling. But Ryan Spann said that he's, for once, training for real and like having a real camp. I don't put too much stock into that because it could be all talk. But who knows? Ryan Spann is who I initially leaned to when I first saw this matchup announced. But I'm not playing this. I'll be pissed either way if I'm laying juice with Nikita or if I'm buying the underdog price on Ryan Spann. But yeah, guys, that's the end of this breakdown. if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Twitter. Sorry for this being a little bit too late on the week. I had a lot of projects, and I still have a lot of projects that I'm getting done for school. So I've been drowning. I've been drowning in work. But I appreciate everyone watching the video. I appreciate you all. Good luck this weekend, and let's rob these bookies again. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you guys later on another episode of 1 Minute Breakdowns.